All right, we are live. Happy 2026, friends. We made it. If your New Year's resolutions aren't already looking a little bit shaky, don't worry. This is a judge-free, judgment-free zone. I'm Cameron Geesaman. If you're new here, your local real estate agent, community connector, and honestly, Hamilton County hype girl. And we're kicking off this year with some kind of big updates. Some things are happening in Westfield. They've got a new downtown redevelopment plan. There is a new needlepoint place in Carmel, so we're going to talk about that. There's a lot happening across North Indy suburbs right now. We've also got a few curveballs. One local food concept is out the door. Incog is making big moves here in Fishers, so we're going to talk about that. And then a new kind of big best places to live list is making its rounds. And spoiler alert, we've got thoughts on all of that. So if you're wondering also what the housing market is doing, we're going to kind of talk about some predictions for 2026. We're going to get into that. And then, so no fear mongering here. Grab your first week back coffee, shake off that holiday fog, and let's dive into what's happening around Hamilton County this week. There is so much happening. Couple weeks ago, honestly, when we were looking at things, I made a comment that it was kind of just like slow going. There was literally nothing happening. And now that we're in 2026, I feel like all of the news outlets are kind of talking and things are happening. And so we're going to jump into all of that. Before we jump in, though, leave a comment below of where you're watching from. I like to kind of see where people are watching from. I've noticed that we've had some recent locals that have tuned in, which I absolutely love. And then people that are around the country that are looking at Indiana. And I think there's actually some things that we're going to talk about today that are going to make people who live outside of Indiana actually really interested in this area. So I've got my water. I didn't get tea today. I didn't even update the, normally I have my little plant. I've just been so busy. I'm reorganizing my database. It's just craziness over here, but we're going to jump in. So the first topic that we are going to talk about is that I think it's going to be big news for a lot of Fishers people, because ultimately Fishers Test Kitchen is no-go anymore. So a lot of people have kind of been talking about, should have blown my nose before I started. The Fishers Test Kitchen came about around the pandemic. So right around the time that everything was shutting down, it was actually having struggles because they were trying to open, but yet we couldn't be open. And it was a new concept. So essentially at the Sun King, there's a location at the Yard in Fishers where it had 3 different restaurants that came in and they kind of tested their food, and you can go in and you could pick between 3 different restaurants. I liked that, being gluten-free, because then I could go in and determine which place I wanted to go to. Well, that's no longer a thing. So the era of developing restaurant concepts at the Yard at the Fishers District is over. The Fishers Redevelopment Commission voted December 29th to terminate the lease of Fishers Test Kitchen, a restaurant accelerator that has operated as 3 counter service stalls in conjunction with a Sun King Brewing Company tap room since February 2020. So Clutch Kitchen, which is a restaurant founded by Indiana University's alum and Master Chef competition winner, Kelsey Murphy, she's a local, opened in the 3,000 square foot space on January 2nd. So Sun King and Clutch Kitchen share the building. They're at the yard. It kind of talks about the redevelopment and how everything went. And so it'll be interesting to see how that kind of plays out. I think there's a lot of people that are really excited about that, especially since she's a local and there's been a lot of buzz with her being in our area, and she's been doing all sorts of things. So I'm really excited. I want to try it out. I'm hoping that she has some gluten-free stuff, which let me actually take a second. And if you have watched a few weeks ago, I mentioned that Vicious Biscuit is opening up in Fishers. Well, they are open. They have gluten-free biscuits and they are amazing. So just as a heads up. So it says the clutch menu in Fishers includes sandwiches, pizzas, wings, nachos, and salads. So excited to kind of see where that develops, how long it will go. It says that Murphy will pay a 1.5% of revenue from the restaurant and her catering business to the city. So that's kind of nice. There's that, agreement between the two, which is really, really nice, to be honest, because that's kind of what the test kitchen was. There was the connection between the city and the test kitchen. So I'm curious if you think this is good. Did you go to any of the different locations? When they first opened, there was a pizza place. King Dough, which is a pizza place downtown. They opened a spot in the test kitchen, and I loved it because, again, they had gluten-free options that were really, really good. But they didn't last as long as I had hoped they would, because the goal was to kind of like filter through the test kitchen or restaurants that were there. So anyways, that's the first topic today. The next topic is if you are into embroidery and or needlepoint, then, which I just started, one of my goals this year was to not doom scroll on this device. There are times when I'm in the office, I'm working all day, I go to the couch and I want to relax. And when I relax, I sometimes end up doom scrolling for like 2 or 3 hours. I don't know. Raise your hand if that's if you're that person too. It's so bad. And I noticed that I was just wasting time and I wanted to do a better job. My sleep hasn't been great. So I decided to pick up needlepoint. And so when I saw this, I was really excited. Mother Daughters Open Needlepoint Shop at Carmel. It's right down the street from the cake bake. So a mother and 2 daughters recently fulfilled an ambition of opening a needlepoint shop. The Proper Stitch, which I absolutely love that name. Good job. I don't know how you came up with it, but I really love it. The Proper Stitch has more than 700 canvases available and sells a variety of threads, project bags, and other needlepoint accessories. It also offers classes for needlepoint crafts. The shop is owned by Kathleen Dusing and her daughters, Lauren and Megan Dusing. Megan began needlepointing during the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020 and quickly fell in love with her new hobby. So she taught the skills to her mom and sister. I haven't been in there yet. I'm super excited. I think it's going to be fun. I think it's a great addition. I actually don't think that there are really much of any needlepoint. There are a couple of places in and around Hamilton County that you can get needlepoint supplies, but to see that this is where you can go get canvases and actually do bigger projects, I'm excited. And it's not mainstream in the sense of like it's not Hobby Lobby or Joann Fabrics, which actually is closed, and all these places, right? So excited to see that that is a new addition to the Carmel, which isn't very far, especially for clients that are relocating. I explain, the benefit, even if you might not live in Carmel, but you want to visit Carmel, it's about a 20-ish. For some people, it's 15 minutes. Some people, it's 30, but like 20 to 30-minute drive to be able to go and see. And if you're right by there, you might as well go to Cake Bake and experience Disney cake. Chris Kindle Market is over, but during the winter, you could get needlepoint, get a piece of cake, walk around Chris Kindle Market. There's just so much to do. Grab a show. If you're grabbing a show at the Palladium or Civic Theater, then you can stop just make it plan out. And there's just so much to do. So I was really excited. It'll be fun. And I can't wait to go visit. Okay, next up on the docket is Indiana. So this is something that a lot of people aren't going to be happy about, but several laws went into effect as of January 1st in Indiana. So here's what you need to know, which I kind of like when news reports put out things, because I honestly don't have time to read all of the new regulations and laws. Sometimes we hear about them because people want to oppose them or whatever. And so again, my goal with this channel is to do the research for you so that you don't have to go out and do the research. You just have to show up I do this every other Tuesday. But if you're not here now live, then you can come and watch it whenever, because it's on YouTube. So I try to at least have it be a hub for you to go and be like, what's going on in Hamilton County? So property tax reform, yay, property tax. Honestly, you can look at this many different ways. I don't think it's bad, but Hoosiers will see a 10% property tax credit of up to $300 on all homestead property tax bills. Additional property tax credits will go into effect for fixed income seniors and disabled veterans. Hoosiers can expect to see their supplemental homestead deduction increase to 40%, which, again, I think that's really great, especially when you're talking about disabled seniors and disabled veterans. Another provision requires the Indiana Department of Government Finance to launch a property tax transparency portal on January 1st, 2026. The online portal would help homeowners compare current and proposed property tax rates. It would also allow homeowners to give feedback to state and local officials. And then both Indiana Senate President Pro Tem Rob Bray, all the words, and Indiana House Speaker Todd Huston have hinged on making tweaks to SEA1 later this season. So we might see that actually change. And then the Indiana Consumer Department of Protection Act. So years after Governor Eric Holcomb signed the Indiana Consumer Data Protection Act into law, the legislation officially went into effect Thursday. The law gives Hoosiers consumers more control over how certain companies collect and use their online personal data. Hoosiers also now have the right to ask those companies to delete or restrict the use of their personal data. I think we can all feel this. It's one of those things where, I even was scrolling the other day and I noticed that I was scrolling and someone had posted that there's this scam where they're getting this package in the mail, and if you scan the QR code and they get all your data. And so I just think we're living in a world where this is just going to be something that is a continuous issue. Actually, being in sales, honestly, I have to call people to try to generate business. And so I get the telemarketing aspect. I try to do my best. If somebody's like, don't call, I'll never call you again. Because I want to be conducive of that. But so we want to protect our Hoosiers, and we want them to assure the data that they put out there, that it is secured, and that is secured as it's supposed to be. The law excludes government agencies, financial institutions, and companies that store health information. So good to know. I think that was really great. Healthcare reform after Governor Braun called on the Indiana General Assembly to go after pharmacy benefits managers, PBMs, during the State of the State address. Lawmakers passed several bills placing restrictions on the middleman that manage prescription drug coverage. Starting Thursday, PBMs must ensure that their pharmacy network is reasonably adequate and accessible. So it kind of goes into some of the other aspects of the law. Then we go down to the BMV amended registration starting Thursday. Hoosier drivers need to alert the Bureau of Motor Vehicles if they change the color of their car. This includes any installation or removal of a vinyl vehicle wrap. Drivers who don't let the BMV know within 30 days could receive a warning from law enforcement. However, vehicle owners who don't let the BMV know may be charged with a misdemeanor if the vehicle was used to help carry out a crime. Very interesting. I thought that was quite an interesting thing. I don't think I realized that if you change the color of a car that you need to let them know. I'm not sure. It makes complete sense. I don't know why I never thought of it, to be honest. Because I mean, how many crime shows do you see? I literally was reading a book the other day, or finished a book last year that where the criminal literally they committed a crime, then they went and painted the van and continued to commit crimes, and they couldn't find the car. I mean, it makes sense, Cameron. Gotta love it. Anyways, this one was really interesting. This is part of the reason why I wanted to show you this, because I thought it was quite interesting. Although not a, so Indiana SNAP sugary drinks and candy ban, although not a change in state law, a significant change in SNAP that went into effect Thursday via an executive order signed by Governor Brown last April, prohibits SNAP recipients from using benefits to purchase candy and sugary drinks. According to the FSSA, the following food items will be included in the ban: candy bars, pieces, gum, mints, kettle and caramel popcorn, marshmallows, chocolate chips, and fruit strips. However, SNAP recipients can purchase the following food items with their benefits: fruit, ice cream, potato chips. Drinks that will fall under the ban include soda, sports drinks like Gatorade, energy drinks, sweet and iced tea, water mixed with sweeteners. Hoosiers on SNAP can still purchase the following drinks using their benefits: water, fruit juice, unsweetened iced tea, pediatric electric drinks. Indiana's ban will remain in effect for at least the next 5 years. I don't think I ever realized that that was a problem with SNAP. I understand. I know this sounds bad, but I just kind of feel bad for some of the kids. Like, there are sometimes where you want to be able to buy them something fun, and you took out a lot of the fun. Apparently it's a problem. I don't know. I don't know why they're forcing. I feel like as a parent, you should be able to pick what you want to buy, but clearly I don't know everything. Somebody can correct me in the comments, because this is not something that I follow a lot. I was just like, that was really interesting. You can't, so don't pay your car. If you're in a stop, you can't buy sugar. And healthcare reform is changing, and they're trying to protect our data, and your property tax may go down. That's what's in the news for the laws that have gone into effect here in 2026. There you got it. Okay, shifting gears a little bit. Sorry, I have a little bit of a runny nose. Okay, Westfield unveils blueprint for downtown redevelopment. So we all know, if you are driving past Westfield or you're driving around Westfield, you know that there's been delays and redirecting for traffic and all the things, because Westfield is trying to actually make a downtown, because let's be honest, for the last entire life of Westfield, there wasn't really a downtown, not like you would feel like you had in all the other the other prominent cities in Hamilton County. So like Carmel, Fishers, Noblesville, they all have like downtown areas. Westfield really didn't. So they finally made the jump to kind of add. You can see these are the new apartment complexes, which look amazing. And the ice skating rink, which is so fun, especially when it's like snowing, just feels so fun and like nostalgic. But they kind of they put out what their whole goal is. So Westfield leaders, woo, you can tell I'm in real estate. Westfield leaders want the city's downtown to be more than a place to drive through on State Road 32. So they are setting the stage to make it a destination. Last month, the city in Indianapolis-based Browning Day unveiled a blueprint for their redevelopment vision for the next 2 decades. The plan sets nothing in stone, but it provides a roadmap to guide current and future officials in making downtown a place people want to live, work, eat, shop, and explore on foot, which I think all of the cities right now are kind of trying to accomplish that. Carmel really is at the head, because they started this a long time ago. Fishers is right behind them. And then honestly, Noblesville always has been, because it's been like the hub for Hamilton County. It was where our like the county's assessors and city building and everything is. And so that's kind of always been a true downtown square. City officials want downtown to complement development around Grand Park Sports Campus to the north, where work is underway to create a district, with apartments, retail, restaurants, and office space. They're trying to make Grand Park just even bigger than it is, especially with a lot of the things that have come in. I've mentioned in past videos where, like the Masters and all these things are coming to Grand Park to really have it be a destination location. So that's really fun. While Westfield residents do not want the city to copy Carmel and Fishers, interesting, leaders plan to employ a formula similar to the one used by its Hamilton County siblings to remake their downtowns into gathering spaces. That means building a variety of housing types. So you're going to see apartment complexes like you saw in the picture above, constructing parking garages rather than surface lots, and creating a welcoming environment to local retailers, and using tax increment financing as a development tool, which Carmel and Fishers have done. Browning Day's downtown redevelopment plan creates 6 of what it calls downtown plan areas north and south of State Road 32, which is undergoing a reconstruction expected to last through this year. So along 32, there's just a lot of new development. So let me scroll down and I'll kind of show you. So this is kind of a plan. So they have residential. So this is essentially Main Street 32 that goes straight through downtown. It used to be where there was really nothing. So this is where the cross was essentially there. This was downtown. That's all it really was. But then they've made Grand Junction, which is this. So north of 32, residential owner occupied housing. Also legacy and historical core. So each area, Noblesville has definitely more of a historical area, which is really great. And then residential owned occupied housing. Again, this is Main Street. So they're planning on having retail all along there, which there already is a few things that is along there. Residential Creekside owner occupied housing, retail, Grassy Branch Creek Boardwalk, which that's really fun, especially from the walking. You've got Grand Junction Plaza that opened in 2021 here, and then the Union at Grand Junction project to open this year, which is really great. The Grand on Main projected to open in 2027, and then Park and Poplar, which is opening to be determined. So there's all sorts of stuff that's planned. Wills emphasizes that current residents and business owners will not be compelled to sell their properties, but some people have sold and others are in the process of selling. We don't care if any of our residents downtown ever sell their property, and we're certainly not going to be forcing people out of their homes or out of their buildings. It's a vision of what can be in Westfield. So I kind of like that they are sort of shifting that. I will say that there's a lot of Fishers, older community and neighborhoods, like one specifically got tore down that was along the Nickel Plate Trail, and then which is now going to be apartments and condos. It was another neighborhood that it was going to be a development, and then it hasn't done anything. So it's just literally sitting as a big lot. So that's one of the things, unfortunately, with Carmel or with Fishers that has happened. It sounds like Westfield's trying to make a little bit of a different decision and want to kind of motivate those owners to stay and not have it be where it's turned into businesses. I will say down like Rangeline and Carmel, those used to all be houses. They're all businesses now. It just depends on what you like or what you don't like. I think when you're trying to do that work, live, play, you've got to have the mix of everything. And I think that's what they're really trying to keep in. So also, the first step toward redeveloping downtown happened 4 years ago when the $39 million Grand Junction Plaza opened between Mill and Union Street. It was huge. A 6-acre public park hosts civic events like the Westfield Farmers Market, and it's got green space and trails and amphitheater and everything. Anyways, there's all sorts of stuff. There's all different tenants that are going in. So it even goes into further tenants at Union will include Pure Barre, Everbowl, Lake City Bank, Black Sheep Pizza and cocktails, Stella's Ice Cream, Wolfgang Bakery and grooming. That sounds fun for the dogs. Spark Coffee, which is great. Sun King Brewing, which we just talked about, that's in Fishers. That's really great. Is expected to open an 8,700 square foot tap room and food hall next door to the Union next summer. So it's going to feel like it is in Carmel or in Fishers. I'm curious how that's going to be different. So that should be interesting. Old Town, 123 million. Park and Poplar, which I just mentioned, the TBD determined project will be built on 9 acres along the Midland Trace Trail south of Park Street and between Mill Street and West Boulevard. Plans for Park and Poplar feature 240 apartments, 56 for rent brownstones. That's fun. A 3-story building with 60,000 square feet of office space and 3-story building with a 29,200 square feet of retail and restaurant space and a public parking garage with more than 600 spaces. So that's really fun. Last month, Chicago-based Skendar Construction LLC broke ground on the $105 million The Grand on Main, which is expected to have 43,500 square feet of retail and restaurant space. Skendar's new Indiana office, up to 225 apartment units, a public garage, and more than 550 spaces, and an art plaza that will be created through a collaboration with the Indianapolis-based creative agency Gang. So that's really good. I mean, there's just so much. So here's some of the imagery. Here's the thing I will say, anytime the imagery comes out, I do look at it because it's really fun. But whenever we go back and compare it to what it looks like, clearly the trees aren't going to be this big yet. And it doesn't always turn out exactly like this, but it gives me a reason to come back to look at this picture. So Westfield's vision includes a walkable section called Main Street with neighborhood scale retail buildings. This is from Browning Day, the developer. And so, yeah, I think this is what Westfield needs. It's on the map from a place where a lot of people will go, and it's making a lot of the lists of the best places and all that. But Westfield has been kind of for many years because they're, one of the biggest complaints that we hear about Westfield is that there really isn't much upscale. Like if you're talking restaurants, there's really no upscale. You've almost got to go to Carmel. So it's mostly like fast casual and or fast food. So I think having development come in and make it better is going to be really great. Plus you have a destination, like their farmers market hasn't really been all that, like it's all getting better. It's all way better than it has been, but it's nice to kind of see that it's like zhuzhing even more. And I think Westfield is really kind of taking like pieces of each area and kind of going, okay, this is what we want. Which there's something to be said about being the last that kind of comes up through the rain, so to speak, because they get to kind of shift. They get to see, where did Fishers make a mistake? What's Carmel doing that they're not doing quite right, or we want to do different? And what is Noblesville? And so I talk about on our channel a lot, which I do recommend you go back and watch some of our videos that kind of give the pros and cons and all this about Hamilton County, because each one is slightly different. But they're all really great. I honestly, if I didn't live here, and I was looking at Hamilton County as a place to move, I say this on many of our videos, I don't think there's a wrong answer. It just, you have to look at what your pieces are, what your list is as to what you want. And so kudos to Westfield. Love that you're doing all the things that you're doing. Okay. As we talk about that, to move into the next one, the best places, U.S. News and World Report just put out the 250 best places to live in the U.S. in 2025, 2026. And sure as heck. Okay, so Georgia. Oh, Carmel, number 2 in the best places to live. Doesn't shock me. Population 106. Average commute 21 minutes, median price $479. I actually think that's low. I think they need to relook at that. Median monthly rent, they need to look at that too, because that's actually higher than $1,455. And median household income $142. I'm wondering if I should counter that. I don't know if I should counter that. Anyways, But Carmel got number 2. And as we scroll down, look who got number 4. Good old Fishers. 105 population, commute time 24 minutes. It's literally the same as Carmel, so I don't know why it's 24 minutes. Median home value 406. That's a little bit more in alignment. Monthly rent 1,400. And then median household income 134, which I don't know if I want to counter that. Sorry, 134. So interesting. And then a lot of these other areas. So there's a couple places that we compare ourselves to, like Troy, Michigan, Texas. We get a lot of comparisons with Texas. I don't know where Pflugerville, Texas. If you're from Pflugerville, Texas, that's an interesting city name. Am I saying it correctly? Okay, so the one of our children is dyslexic, and so I phonetically want to be Pflugerville, but I know that's probably not right because the P is probably silent. Pflugerville? I'm sorry, but whoever picked that, if that was your last name, I'm sorry. Sugarland. McAllen makes more sense. Cedar Park, Texas. There's so many other. So you can see, so normally I wanted to kind of show you this because normally we get Carmel and Fishers, right? And then right behind it, we usually get Noblesville and Westfield, and you don't see it. Now, I don't know. Let's see if I can actually, I didn't look at this real close because honestly, I kind of felt like I knew what it was going to say, which it does. I don't know if it lists the two, if Noblesville and there's Noblesville. So it's number 50 in the top 250. So again, not a surprise. We haven't got any other Indiana. So interesting that we haven't seen, like Greenwood or Brownsburg or Fort Wayne typically sometimes gets some benefits of being in lists. But so far in Indiana, they're all in Hamilton County. And that's usually, there's Greenwood. Greenwood is 91. Okay, Columbus in at 92. Interesting. We don't see Columbus a lot. It's a little bit further out. It's a solid from downtown Indianapolis. It's probably a solid 35, 45 minutes, if I'm correct. Queen Creek, Arizona. I see a lot of Queen Creek or Gilbert. We are ranked higher than both of those, which is fun to see, but they're nice and warm. They don't have snow. Am I getting close to 150? 124. We also usually, that's not a surprise, Jupiter, Florida. That one's ranked pretty well. We see that one quite a bit. Let's see. We're at 36. I don't know if Westfield's going to make it. It doesn't look like it. Oh, we got some Ohios. Do I keep scrolling to 250? That's the question. You get the point. Ultimately, Indiana, Hamilton County, 3 within the top 50, which is pretty solid. This is why we talk about Indiana so much, is because it really is affordable. I was talking to a client the other day who moved from out of town, and they moved to our area, so Hamilton County. And, they're meeting friends and neighbors and getting acclimated and joining pickleball and doing all these things. And the interesting part is when you talk to people that come from other states, we're really affordable. But if you talk to people who live in the state, we don't think it's affordable. I mean, I think it's affordable, but people don't realize how great Hamilton County is. You guys, I'm telling you, Hamilton County is a diamond in the rough. There's not a better, you can't have 4 counties, 5 different high schools. I don't know how many elementaries and junior highs, and the amount of business that's coming here and the development. someone who is researching or knows this better than I do, because I'm not going to say I know everything, but show me the area that is that prolific within one county, right? One county, 4 different cities, all the like advantages that there is. Prove me wrong and show me a better place. Now, I'm not saying that you might have better weather or there might be mountains or oceans or whatever. Like, I get that. But from affordability and what there is to offer, the sports teams, the activities, the places that you can get to things, like, I just don't think there's a better place. Okay, I'm moving on. Speaking of businesses that are coming to the Fishers or Hamilton County area, Incog, which is only been around for, I think it's like 5 years, I think is what I was told, is a biofarm services company that is has a manufacturing operation in Fishers, is exploding. They have just signed, or they've just announced that there will be I can't even talk. I'm just going to read what it says because I try to paraphrase and then it just doesn't work. Incog Biofarm Services, a contract development and manufacturing organization, plans to expand its operation in Fishers, Indiana. The $200 million investment at the company's existing facility will increase its injectable drug product manufacturing capacity, enabling the production of up to 480 million units per year. The continued demand from our global biofarm partners and our team's ability to create the opportunity for this next level of investment and expansion. Committing another $200 million and employing nearly 1,000 team members by 2030 underscores our dedication to continue providing world-class flexible manufacturing capacity while creating generational opportunities for the talented workforce here in Central Indiana. This is a vote of confidence in our team, our quality, and our future. You guys, 1,000 employees. Now, this is just one company, right? They are exploding. I actually talked to their HR, I want to say director. I'm going to get that wrong because he told me his name, John. And I loved it because I used to, back in the day, I was in HR and I was always like, the name could be better. Anyways, he was just explaining, like, they're doing so much. They're adding parking because they need parking, and they're adding buildings. And this is sterile injectables is really essentially what they work with. And so GLP-1s, everybody's talking about them. It's all over. And so this is huge, 1,000 employees. Now, that doesn't mean that 1,000 people are going to relocate here, but they're opening up those jobs. This is why Hamilton County is so great. Carmel is bringing in businesses. Westfield and Noblesville is bringing in businesses. It is a hub to be able to have your actual work, play, live area. And I just think it's awesome. So I got really excited yesterday when I was talking to John, because these are the things that make me really happy. And some people are going here. Okay. Put in the comments, I hate that it's going to bring all more people and the traffic's going to suck. And like, I get it. Yes. I don't know what to tell you. If you are move to Pendleton, to Cicero, to Anderson, like move, like Whitestown, move further out and then drive in. Like, there are towns that are right next door that are quieter, smaller. I actually think Pendleton is the next Fishers. I've said that for a while. Sheridan's exploding. And so these are all locations that are, people want more, rural. They're going to live out and then they're going to drive in and work at Incog. I think it's great. I'm here for it. And maybe I'm a little bit jaded because, again, we work with a lot of relocation clients. Well, a lot of local and relocation. We're probably a healthy mix. But when I meet someone who's moving from another state into, Hamilton County, they think our traffic is nothing. Whereas, again, if you talk to a local, they think our traffic is awful. So it's all perspective. And I think that's something to look at. It all depends on what you're coming from, what you're moving to, and what that looks like. So I will get off my soapbox. Okay. It's technically the half point. I got really excited. I gave you 6 topics that I talked about today. So I'm going to have to rush through the back end of our live show. Again, please put down below where you're watching from. If you have any questions, I'm an open book. I try to shoot real straight with everybody. I'm not one to sugarcoat it. I might drag on and talk a lot, but I'm going to tell you how it is. So NAR put out a 2026 real estate outlook, what leading housing economists are watching. And so I found this to be really interesting. Again, I read this because I want to kind of know what's coming down the pipeline because we're usually behind just a little bit. But Lawrence Yun, NAR chief economist, says we are seeing a little better condition for more home sales with more inventory and the lock-in effect steadily disappearing because life-changing events are making more people list their property to move on to their next home. Next year should be better than with lower mortgage rates, and that will qualify more buyers. We are expecting home sales to increase by about 14% nationwide in 2026. That is great. We are seeing that. There's a slowdown. We're going to talk about data here in a little bit. Equity remains, but home prices moderate. Home price growth will be minimal, roughly 2 to 3%, about the same as overall consumer price inflation. Generally, wage growth will be above that. So it's a year where people's income begin to rise a little faster than consumer price inflation and home prices. And this is a welcoming development. I can't say that I know the answer to this, but I actually hope that that's going to happen. Less pressure on buyers. We're already seeing that. Inventory levels are about 20% above 1 year ago. So there are more choices for consumers. We're not back to pre-COVID inventory yet, which this person would consider normal. So we're still in a silent housing shortage condition. Agree. We still have a shortage, but homes are starting to sit. So that's where it's kind of like balancing out. But consumers do not have to rush decisions the way they did before. And then the American dream is still alive. I question that a little bit, but the desire for home ownership has not fallen. Many renters say that if the conditions are right, they would like to become homeowners. I do like that. The past couple of years have been frustrating because of elevated mortgage rates, but things will be much better to achieve that American dream in home ownership of 2028 with more inventory choices and mortgage rates falling. So months ago, I had mentioned that the average first-time home buyer age is sitting at 42, which every time I say that to somebody, at least here locally, seems really, really high. I'm curious what states or what agents, if you're an agent that watch my channel, like I'm curious, let me know if in your area you tend to see more older individuals. Supply side signals. So again, we're seeing some improvement in new home construction. I'm going to talk about that a little bit. One of the big helping factors is the ongoing easing from the Federal Reserve. I agree with that. New homes versus resale prices, an unexpected dynamic. The median resale home price right now is actually more expensive than the median price of a newly built home. Here locally, that's a little bit different. I think builders are still doing pretty well. Although they built a ton of homes, and so that's challenging. I'm not going to go through all of it only because, I mean, I could literally talk for hours about that. I think a lot of you really like to kind of see the Indianapolis data. So we're going to jump into that. So for December, you know how, if you've watched this channel before, and if you go back and watch any of our others, this is kind of how we flow. I kind of give you the things that are coming or things that are happening around Hamco. And then we talk about the stats, and then I show you some houses. So December, I start with pretty much all of my board, which is everything that you see behind me. The median sales price is 305. It hasn't changed since November. 2,639 closed sales, which was up since November. So yay. Median days on market is up, which is actually 40%. That's actually the opposite direction. My board needs to switch this to not be green. It needs to be red, but I get what they're trying to do. New listings are down though, 33% of 1,690. The active inventory, 5,981, is down. And then the month supply is also, funny enough, it's actually down, which is actually good. So that's where this one and this one are different, but we're going to look at Hamilton County. So Hamilton County, we're down 440. Closed sales were also down 515. Days are, or median days on market is up 46. So it's taking longer for Hamilton County, which is not a surprise. We are seeing a lot of houses, which we get that in December anyways, the winter months, that always happens. Active inventory again is down at 815, and the month supply is down at 1.6, which is actually good. So not, I'm not saying, I mean, okay, so all of them are red except for one, which is green, which technically really is red. So you can see that it's starting to balance out and or adjust, which I don't think is a bad thing. But then we need to look at this month, we're going to talk about Fishers. So I try each time I kind of rotate. So I'm not giving you the same houses or the same area. And we haven't done Fishers in a while. So when I look at Fishers, which is Delaware, Fall Creek, and Wayne, the average price is $415. So you got some more reds, closed sales, 158 days on market. 61 days. You guys, we haven't seen 2 months in a long time, like a long, long time. So for it to hit 61 days is impressive. So if you've listed your house and you're like, why is the house not moving? It's not you, it's somewhat the market. We talk to all of our sellers on a weekly basis because I think the data is very important. You need to know it. And so that's something that we talk about. Active inventory is down, and then month supply again is down, which is good. So interestingly enough, when I pulled data on, because we're talking about Fishers, there were 226 active listings in, okay, so when I say Fishers, I search, and I think that you should search for Hamilton County, or sorry, Hamilton Southeastern School District. I like to go by school districts, not technically the city, because it's a variable. So these numbers are skewed a little bit because I search Hamilton Southeastern School District, but there were 226. 25% of those were new construction. That is a big number. That means that there are a lot of houses that are new construction. And so if you're looking at potentially buying, that's a huge advantage. And there is negotiating capabilities with new construction all day long. So I think that's where, if it's a spec home, then you usually can get them down, which is really great. If you're building, you are going to be paying top dollar. So I'm going to show you 3 houses, which I'm really excited. So stay tuned for that last one. That was really pretty. This house, it's a little ranch. It's the least expensive home. I hate when they do verticals because you got to do that. Least expensive home in Hamilton Southeastern School District right now, but look how cute it is. They've staged it. They have made it, kind of cute with furniture, and updated it and made it fresh and clean, which is really, really great. It's also on land. So if you're wanting to have some peace and quiet, it is a 3-bedroom, 1 bath, 1,192 square feet, 239.9. I always think it's interesting. Technically, it's been listed for 71 days. Not sure why they started it at 174 and went up to 239.9. There's questions that I would ask, of course, of like, what did they do? But the other thing that I typically do is I show you locations. So this is Fishersburg Avenue. Let me scroll out, which is 32. 32 goes all the way into Westfield. So it's right by Fishersburg, right by Lapel. So you can kind of see, but it technically is a Hamilton Southeastern School District. So I always find that really interesting. So if you're wanting kind of quiet, it's technically Noblesville, but if you're wanting to be further out and not be in that hustle and bustle that I talked about, then that's where this is a really great advantage. So anyways, that's the first listing. So if you're wanting least expensive, Then we go mid-grade. This is actually in one of my favorite neighborhoods. There are a few neighborhoods that I really love that are kind of the older feel. We get those questions a lot, like, because Fishers or Hamilton County is a fairly newer county, right? And so we don't have a whole lot from like old homes. You got to go to downtown Indianapolis to get the really old 1800 homes. But look how open this is. I think there's so much potential. Some people aren't going to like the wood trim. So paint it if you don't like it. I don't mind it. I actually like wood in a house. And actually wood is coming back. So that's really great. But it's got potential. I'm not going to say that it is perfect the way it is, but that's what I love about properties like this is there's room to be able to change it. It has a basement. And I mean, look at that. Side load garage on a big lot, corner lot. It clearly was snowing when they took pictures, but such a great property. So 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath, 2,800 square feet in Timber Springs. So it's downtown. So let me show you on the map. It's downtown Fishers. I actually grew up right around this area. And this is the Nickel Plate Trail. So there's walking that you can even get to over there to be able to go to downtown Fishers. It is also really quick access. You can take this Hague Road to 96th Street. So like from jumping on the highway and getting to downtown, it's really, really great. I honestly am surprised that it hasn't sold. The only thing I can think of is that maybe it's priced a little high. It's been on the market for 37 days. It started at 600 and now is at 595. So a ranch in essentially downtown Fishers that has a basement in one of the kind of growing up, everybody was like, that's the neighborhood in downtown Fishers, or one of the in our little area. Such a great property. This should be sold. I'm just telling you right now, I don't go buy this house. Call me and we'll go see the house. Okay. Lastly, I wanted to show you this beautiful house, which hasn't sold. I'm not surprised to a certain extent, partially because it's $11 million. But this is Andretti's, Michael Andretti's house. So race car driver for the Indy 500, has this beautiful, stunning property. I mean, look at this night shot. Way to go to the realtor who had the photographer go and do a golden hour shot. Look at that entryway when you pull in. The views of Geist are chef's kiss. The portico that you can drive in, drop your guest off so that they don't get rained on. I mean, you could go on and on. I feel like I could tell a story about this house. I would love to tell us. I would love to make a video of this house telling a story about the person who lives here, because you guys, look at this. There's a water feature when you pull into the portico to drop your guest off. You feel like you're at a resort hotel. I need somebody to show up and hand me a glass of champagne as I walk in, and you walk in and it's beautiful and stunning. I mean, okay, I get it. Some people might not like this style, but this is, I mean, it's gorge, right? Like, it's beautiful. We're showing a picture of a light. The woodwork. So do you see how like they have the animals? The woodwork in this house is just stunning. This is an entertainment area. The bar. I think that was that the basement? No, I think that's the first floor. That's the kitchen on the first floor. There's so much room. Look at all the cabinet space. You can have all of the appliances you want. Okay, somebody just put, Kara, are there some programs available that could help a single income renter afford purchasing in Fishers? Been renting in Fishers for years. Oh, hey, Kara. Yay! I actually met Kara at the, I really want Baby Got Brunch to come back. They did not have Baby Got Brunch. Didn't happen last year. I was so sad, Kara. That is a great question. There are first-time homebuyer style programs. I'm not going to say that there's a lot that can help. I know it's one of the things that actually Fishers, a lot of people in Fishers have complained about, that they are renters here and they can't afford to be able to purchase a home. Every single person is going to be different. I would have to kind of walk through, where you're at with things to be able to determine or even just guide you on things to do to get you to that point. So we help a lot of first-time home buyers kind of navigate what that looks like and then be able to position you, which can take some time. It's not easy. But thank you for renting in Fishers. We need our renters. There's a lot of individuals that have rental properties, but it's also probably so expensive. Let's chat, because I think that there are some things that we can definitely talk about and try to get you into the right position. Oh, I got rid of the house. Okay. Ooh, look, it's bigger. Okay. You guys, this house is amazing. Look at that back. I don't know why we went outside and then went back in, but I'm a stickler for things like that. Like, why did we were outside and then we went to a scullery or like a butler's kitchen? Okay, just stay on track. It's just beautiful. Call me so that we can go look at it. You might have to already have your pre for $11 million. It is 11. I said 11. It's technically closer to 12. 11,950,000. They have not dropped the price. It's been on the market for 86 days. But you guys, it's gorgeous. It's going to take the perfect buyer, right? Somebody that really wants a 5.23 private acre with 570 feet of pristine Geist Reservoir shorefront. It's a 2,100 square foot gated waterfront estate. Redefines Midwestern luxury. It does. That's definitely Midwestern luxury. Location, I mean, it's on Geist. But it is a private. So growing up, there's like four driveways that you drive past on Brook School. And back in the day, actually, one of my good friends owned one of the lots. And so for track, we would go and have fun on the lot. They hadn't built a house there. I think they sold it. I don't think they ever built on it, but we would go and we would swing and drop into the water, and it was really fun. It was a really cool property. And I always wanted to know what those houses would look like back in there. And that is one of them. So you have two that is off of this driveway, one off of this. I don't know where this driveway is. This must have a different, I don't know how you get to that one. How do you get to that one? You guys, you have to hike, park at the front, and then you hike your way in. Anyways, it's not what you do. I just think it's funny. Okay, so, but it's so cool. And you're right across the street from Salt, which is one of my favorite restaurants in Fishers. It's bougie and fun, and it's fish food. Salt, funny. Makes sense. So if you're pre-qualified for $12 million, give me a call. Let's go see it. I haven't seen it yet. I'm bummed because I really want to go see it. So you guys, that's it. That's all I've got for you today. Wild ride. So much happening. I feel like as we get into the year, right, there's going to be more that's popping up. I will say we also went to Activate. So that was that new like gaming where there's different rooms. That was a lot of fun. I need to post that on my Instagram because I need to show people what it's like. It was so much fun. Our boys loved it. That's when we then after that went to Vicious Biscuit. If you're gluten-free, those biscuits. Oh, they're so good. And the staff was great. They were really nice. Yeah. So that's all I got for you today. Happy New Year. Thank you for watching our channel. We're going to keep doing this until somebody tells me not to. I might still do it even if somebody tells me not to. I get to talk for an hour and ramble, you guys. Adam would say, I enjoy that. I do enjoy it. Actually, what I enjoy is when I get to talk to people like Kara, who call me and we get to chat about the market even more, and I get to answer your questions. That's actually my favorite part, is connecting with you that watch our channel. So thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. I'm going to be back in 2 weeks. If you have any questions, let me know. Again, I'm Cameron Geesaman, your Hamco. I just lost the hype girl. I'm not that good of a hype girl. Hamco, hype girl. Anyways, thanks for watching the Hamco Roundabout. You have a great week, and we'll catch you in the next one. Bye. End